I here? Well, we made these workbenches that you know about right over there. And I've been wanting to make these doors on them. I've had a dilemma with myself about what kind of door I'm going to put on there. And if I was going to put any at all. But I found this magazine a while ago. And I saw these barn doors. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. And so I'm thinking maybe I could do that for the center section. But then what would I do for the other sides? I don't know. But I think that looks cool. I think I like this so much because this cabinet that they made does look so cool. But the idea of having barn doors that slide, I've been wanting to do that for a long time. And this is really cool because they show how to make the brackets and stuff. I'm gonna try it. Well, I'm thinking I have to make the doors first. Rats. I am really excited to make the brackets and the wheel slider things, but first things first. So I measured the area where the doors would go. I cut 2 pieces of 1/4-inch plywood to match those measurements. I have a bunch of myrtle wood that were all cut-offs that I have planed down and cut into little pieces. And I thought maybe I could use those to make some kind of design or something for a door. You know what? I have all these big pieces of walnut too. And I think that I'm going to cut those up into boards, maybe, and use those. These odd pieces of walnut I got from a man after my dad found out that the man wanted to give them away. They're oddly shaped and rotting in some areas, but they'll be perfect for these shop doors. So I slabbed them on the bandsaw and then cut them into boards on the table saw. I kept these 4 book match pieces. Gibbs jumped up onto my lap and then onto the table for a quick little visit, which was really, really strange for him to do. It was nice to give him some pets. I cut the pieces of walnut, and I also had some juniper pieces. I used the miter saw to cut 45-degree angles because I had a plan developing. Then I put it all together, the walnut, juniper, and some myrtle wood, making both doors at the same time. At this point, I decided to glue on what I had so far, so I could then measure and cut what was needed to fill in the inner parts of the doors. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do exactly. I didn't have much walnut left or myrtle wood left, but I had logs and logs of juniper. So I ended up measuring and cutting up the juniper logs to fill the inside spaces of the doors. When the glue was dry, I removed some clamps I had added. And here's how it looks. Yay! Now I'm ready to make the brackets. Cool! Okay, I have my clamps and my trusty directions and my jig. Woo! Let's put the jig together and clamp it to this. Okay. Now, it says to take this to the grinder. Grinding was a little scary at first, but then it wasn't so bad. I curved that end right up pretty quickly. Alright, so I'm just supposed to put it in here and bend it. Ooh, it's scary. It's really scary. I guess it won't break though. And it says to use a clamp to do the rest. So I will do that. That little clamp didn't work, but the pipe clamp worked great. Oh yeah, that's much easier. Much easier. Ooh, nice. Yeah, like it. Okay, woohoo! Sweet, love it. Let's take it off and take a look. Ah, nice. Cool. Okay. I drilled the holes and I was expecting this to be really hard, but it wasn't. Then I needed to cut these to length, but the pipe cutter saw is in the shed and it's already dark and cold outside, so I decided I would just do that the next day. In the meantime, I can start putting the railing on. Yeah. Yes. Okay, I have a problem. And the problem is the doors hang below that piece that it slides on. So that means that this would have to go on like this, and this pulley is going to sit on top like that, and I want it to be lower than this so it's not in my way. And so that means that this is going to have to sit lower like this, and this is going to ride on this down here like this, and then the door is lower than that, and that means my doors are too long. So what that means then is I need to make my doors smaller. Rats. Okay, just have to cut them down. Oh, but I don't want to. I don't want to. Okay. Oh, let's just deal with that part later. Let's put this on now and then continue on with changing the shape of the doors to make it work. So I ended up stopping for the night, and the next morning I continued with the hangers. I got out the pipe cutter chop saw and I cut those to length, and it cut pretty quick and easy. Then grinded those ends. Then continued to make the other three, which went a lot faster this time. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those done now. Woohoo! Then I moved on to the railing, measuring and drilling the holes into the steel pieces. I clamped it in place and then drilled the holes into the workstation. And next was to put the hangers together. Okay, another thing. This fits in here like that, but this has to be squished a little bit more because an inch bolt needs to fit in there. So I'm going to squish them again. And I've discovered that as it rides on the rails, because I had to move the holes up, it's going to bump along on the bolt heads. So definitely not ideal. Should I scrap it? No, I'm just keep going. So I tried to snug up that bend with a pipe clamp. Then my little vise, which I ended up bending the handle. Next I tried this orange vise, and it worked well until I broke that handle. This is difficult. Then I went to the wood vise, and this worked the best, so I did the other three with this one. Now that all 4 pieces of steel were bent enough, I was able to use that 1-inch bolt to fasten the wheel in place on each of them. I was happy to make these hangers like this, but there was just no way they were going to work. The doors were too long, and that means I would have to cut the doors down. But even if I cut the doors down, there would be a space on top of the doors that wouldn't close the opening. There'd be a space, and I didn't want that either. So I decided to scrap the whole hangers with the wheels thing and went from there. So I bent 4 new hangers, but didn't have to worry about squeezing the curve to less than 1 inch this time. Okay, I've got to cut off part of this piece that hangs over and grabs the rail. I need to cut shorter so it doesn't hit those things. So I have to cut that and the ends off. I'm gonna go do that real quick. So I trimmed those pieces up. It was dark, so the sparks looked super cool. Now is the part where I try to figure out where to put these things on the doors. So I measured where the hangers would go on the doors, and then I drilled the holes into these new hangers. This time when I drilled, I used a clamp to hold the steel, and this worked so much better. I drilled all 4 new hangers. Then using the hanger, I drilled through the holes right into the doors and put those in place with a bolt, temporarily. Now I'm going to take those off and paint them. I almost forgot about my book match pieces that I had that I wanted to add to the doors. I had one for each door, so I glued those on real quick. Then sprayed the hangers with black enamel. I taped up some barriers so I could spray the rail. Then took the doors outside. I am going to coat this with this paint and primer stuff that I bought accidentally. It's odd to me because it is the gloss crystal clear, but I don't like it, so I'm going to use it because I want to use it up. I used up the entire can. And when they were dry, I added the hangers. All right, it's time to put them up. Yay, I'm excited! Cool. Neato. Since they don't have the rollers, they're just hanging there, I will just move them like this. It. And I didn't sand anything. It's very rustic shop doors, but I like them. So thanks for joining me, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, this one was getting hung up on this end, so I raised it up a little bit, and now it's over there, and it's fine. So yay!